Okay, the first thing you need to know about the guitar is that these are the strings, these bits of wire that run from one end to the other. We typically refer to this string here as the lowest string, even though it's technically the highest, from the ground. But it's got the lowest pitch. And as you go higher, the pitches usually become higher. Okay. These sort of spaces here on the fingerboard are known as frets. Technically, a fret is actually the little silver bit that runs this direction. But just for terminology purposes, we just say play the first fret. Okay, you put your finger there. You should put your fingers in the middle of each fret. That's something you'll have to strive for, and that's actually why we're going to do our first stretching exercise. You want to know, of course, where to put your thumb, as doing something really weird with your thumb could hurt your hands and could damage your ability to eventually, play harder stuff. Because you wouldn't have the right freedom of movement with your hand. It's very simple, though. Your thumb just goes, I'm not actually all that picky about where it goes, but it's got to be on the back of the neck, basically level with your first finger, more or less. So, thumb, back of the neck. What you want to avoid is doing stuff like this, where you wrap your thumb around, I mean, you can still play chords and stuff like that, but you're not, once you want to try to play, solos and things, you have to have your thumb farther towards the back of the neck here. So there's that. Okay, so let's try a little stretching exercise. All we are going to do is place one finger on one fret, starting with the first fret. So we're going to play first, second, third, and fourth fret. We're not even going to play it, actually. We're just going to put our fingers down. You have to strive for getting your fingers as close as possible to the center of the fret. I mean, nobody's ever perfect about this kind of thing, but this is usually a bit of a stretch for a new guitar player. If you find you just can't, it really hurts to try to stretch way up here, you can pick any fret really. You can go halfway up the fingerboard and try it there. You will find the frets get closer together as they go down, so you don't have to stretch quite as far. So either way is really fine. But what you should be striving for is doing starting on the first fret way up here. Okay, so we've got our fingers here. And just to begin with, just practice holding them there. Taking them off, putting them on. Try to get them to where you are placing them on all four at the same time. When you first start this exercise, you'll be more like kind of one at a time and trying to get it right, and your hands are sliding around. Don't worry about that. That's normal. But eventually, you'll have it like this. And that is the first step. Once the purpose of this is for you to be able to stretch your hand out just to the degree needed to be able to play one finger, one fret, because that's, once you're playing solos and things, that's how you do it. In particular, these third and fourth fingers usually need to stretch a little bit, unless you already do something that causes you to stretch them. Okay, once you've got that, by the way, don't do this more than a half an hour the first day. I mean, if your hand starts to hurt, just call it a day. This is the sort of thing, too, you can do while watching television, just sort of, holding it there, getting it in the right place. You don't have to pay all that much attention as long as your fingers are in the right place. The next step in that exercise is to be able to lift all four fingers at the same time and place them back down on the next string. So, lift, move it over, place it down. Lift, move it over, place it down, and you just work your way down the strings, or up the strings, however really you want to think about it, till you can do them all. and back and forth. The trick here is you have to work on moving all 4 fingers at once. All 4 at once. And when you can lift them and move them up and up and down the strings like this, you'll be doing quite well. And your fingers will be nicely stretched out. The next step is to be able to have your fingers, in the 1 finger, 1 fret position here, in the first position, and pick just 1 finger up individually. This is pretty easy you'll find with your index finger, but it gets more difficult as you go. So do that 2 or 3 times and then move on to your next finger. Lift it up. See if you can get it so you can see a little better here. 3rd finger is usually actually the hardest. You'll find that you have a tendency to lift up 2 fingers at a time when you're trying the 3rd finger. So a lot of this exercise is to develop independence of each finger. So and then you can add that onto your routine from the first exercise. First string, lift up each finger a couple times. Move to the next string, lift up each finger a couple times. Next string. And you just keep going like that. So it's kind of progressive now. You really, once you can do this, kind of at will, you'll have developed, an independence for your fingers that is going to stay with you for the rest of, the time you play guitar. The final progression for the stretching exercise is to move your fingers more independently up and down the strings. Starting with the first finger, you just, it's basically the same thing, but instead of picking up all 4 fingers and moving them to another string, you just do first finger and then the other 3. See, so it's like your first finger's kind of leading the way, and then you walk your hand down the strings and back. First finger, 3 fingers, first finger, rest of them, like so. Then middle finger, same thing. It gets kind of, it gets harder as you go. Middle finger, these 3, middle finger, these 3, and so on. You will find ultimately that the 3rd finger is, again, the most difficult. But when you can do this, you really have independence of motion with your fingers, and it's which is a great fundamental exercise for learning the guitar. And I hope you try it out. And if you come up with any variations on it, send them to me. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy playing your guitar.